Good morning friends, welcome back to Panika Tutorials. In the last video, I have discussed what is an inheritance, what are the advantages of inheritance and what are the various types of inheritance such as single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance and hierarchical inheritance. I hope you have watched that video. If you did not watch that video or if you don't know what is an inheritance and its corresponding concepts, I request you to go back and watch that video and come back to this video. And also in one of my earlier video, I have discussed about the purpose of init method or a constructor in Python. I hope you know that concept. In this video, I want to discuss how the init method will work with the help of parent class and child class. All these things I will discuss in detail for you. So I sincerely request everyone to watch the complete video for better understanding. Now coming to the single level inheritance. In single level inheritance, let's take that I have a class A. In class A, I have defined an init method. What is the purpose of init method? It is useful for you to initialize the object state. Okay, so you have underscore underscore, but there should be no space. Init underscore underscore. Okay, and then you have to write at least one parameter, which is self. Now let me write a statement called print I am in class A. Let's take that. This is the output I want to give. Let's take that you have a class B. Class B is inheriting the properties of class A. That is what we'll call in a single level inheritance. Let's take that class B does not have anything, so that I will write pass. Okay. Now let's take that I am creating an object for the class B. Okay. I am creating an object for the class B. Now what will happen? Look at here. If I execute this one, means if I have written this entire program and if I interpret it and execute it, then I will get an output called I am in class A. Why it is? Look at here. You can ask me, sir, you have created a class. Inside the class you have written an init method. So this init method will be useful for you to initialize the object state of a class A. But you have created an object B for a class B, which is a child class for the parent class A. Then I already told you earlier, whatever the properties the class A has will come to the class B. So internally this has defined init method is also there in the class B. So that's why once you created an object for the class B, then this init method almost invoked, not almost, sorry, it will be invoked without calling. Am I right? You are not calling the init method with the help of the object. Once you create an object, the memory will be allocated and the init method will be invoked. Okay, so that's why you are getting an output as I am in class A. Now you will have one doubt. I will discuss that doubt. Okay, look at here. You have an init method in the class B also. Okay, I have written print, okay, I am in class B. Now I have created an object called small b for a class B. Then guess what will be the output you will get? Lot of students will think that because the class A is the parent and class B is the child, so class A, whatever the properties are there, it will come to the class B also. So in class B you have two init methods, so both the init methods will be invoked. So a lot of people will think that you will get an output as I am in class A, I am in class B. It is absolutely wrong. Why it is that? As you have created an object for child class, as the child class also have the init method, this one only will be invoked. If the child class does not have the init method, if the parent class has it, then it will be invoked. If the child class and parent class both are having, then the child class init method only will be invoked. So you will get the output as I am in class B. I hope it is clear for you why you are getting only I am in class B. Now lot of students will have another doubt. Sir, I want to invoke both the init methods, like what is the init method is there in the class A and also class B. I want to get the output. That also the Python supports. Okay, how it is I will discuss for you. Now to discuss that one, let me erase this content. Look at here. In class B, you have the init method. The first statement you can write here, the first statement or any statement you can write super, okay, dot underscore underscore init underscore underscore, you have to write this statement. Then see, this can be first or second, anything, but you should have this statement. Okay, then you are writing print I am in class B. The order may vary, okay, but in the child class init method this statement should be there. Now let's take that I am writing a statement called small b is equal to capital B, meaning is that I am creating an object called B for the class B. Now in this case, what will be the output you will get? Look at here. Once you have created an object for the class B, then this one will be automatically invoked. Now the first statement is what? Super. I already told you one point. Here the class A is the parent class, class B is the child class, or you can use another terminology called super class and child class, or base class or derived class. So class A is the parent class. So you are calling the super, you are calling the init method which is there in the parent class. So this init method will be invoked. So in this init method, what is the statement is there? I am in class A. So that will be given as an output. I am in class A. Then once this statement is done, the control will come and this statement will be executed. So you will get another output as I am in class B. So these are the two lines of output you will get if you execute this program. I hope it is clear for you. Let me discuss that point again. If you have init method in the parent class, not in the child class, then you have created an object for the child class, then the init method which is there in the parent class will be invoked. If you have init method in both the parent class and child class, using the object of child class, means once you created an object for the child class, then the init method which is there in the child class only will be invoked. If you want to invoke both, then you have to write this statement. I hope it is clear for you. Now let me discuss how it will work in the multi-level inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, let's take that you have a class A. Class B is there which is inheriting the properties of class A, and also you have a class C which is inheriting the properties of class B. So obviously class C will get the properties of both class A and class B. Suppose let's take that class B does not have any statements. So if you don't want to get any errors, you should write a statement called pass. I think you know what is the purpose of pass. I have discussed in one of the video called break, continue and pass. Okay. Now let's take that you have a class C which is inheriting the properties of class B. So obviously it will get the properties of both class A and class B. Here also you have written a statement called pass. Now you are creating an object called D for the class called C. Then you know that once you created an object for a class, the init method will be invoked. But look at here, class C does not have the init method, but class B also does not have the init method. Class A has the init method. I told you earlier, what are the properties which are there in both class A and class B, class C will get. So this init method will be invoked, which is I am in class A, you will get the output. Okay. Now let me discuss one more thing. Let's take that you have init method. Let me write here. Okay. See, exactly you should write here, because the indentation is very important. Due to space constraint, I am not writing here. Let me write here. Okay, I'm really sorry for it. Define init, and then you have the self. Let's take that you have print hi only. So now let's take that you have run this code. You have a class C which is inheriting the properties of class B, and you have a pass statement. In this case, look at here. Does this invoke method will be invoked, or this invoke method will be given as an output? That is what I want to ask you. Now look at here. The C is the child class, the parent class is B, and the grandparent is A. So first, once you created an object for the child class C, it will look at whether init method is there in the class C or not. It is not there. So it will look at whether the parent class have it or not. Yes, the parent class is having. So that will be invoked. So you have to get an output as hi. Are you able to understand it or not? Now let's take that. Sir, I want to get the output hi, and also I am in class A. Both the outputs I should get. Then what the modification I should do? I think by this time you know it. You will, let me write here. Okay, super method dot underscore. Okay, earlier also I think I would have written super method, then underscore init underscore, then this one. Is it clear? If I have not written like this, please modify it. Okay, this is the correction you should do. I think I have written correctly, but I'm in confusion. Okay, look at here. Then what will happen? In this scenario, what will happen is that once you create an object for the class C, as the class C does not have the init method, then the init method which is there in the class B will be invoked. So you have a statement called hi that will be given as an output, and then you are calling super dot. So super is parent class of B. What is the parent class of B? Class A. In that one, init method is there. So init method you invoking. So you will get an output as I am in class A also. So this is the thing you will get it. Similarly, let's take that you have the init method in the class C itself. Then by this time you know it. If the init method is there in the class C itself, and also class B and class A, then whatever the invoke method is there in the class C will be invoked first. Okay, for better understanding, let me write it for you. You have defined underscore init underscore self. Let's take that you have print welcome. Okay, then if you are creating an object called D for the class C, then which one will be invoked? Let's take that you have the init method in the class C, class B, and also class A. First it will look at whether the C has the init method or not. Yes, it has. So this will be invoked. So only you will get the output as welcome. Okay, let's take that you want to get the output welcome, hi, and I am in class A. In that case, what you have to do? You have to write super method dot underscore init. Then the parent means C's parent is what? B. That one will be invoked. If you want to invoke this one also, here also you should write super dot, okay, super method dot underscore init method. Then this one will be invoked. I hope it is clear for you how to use the constructors in the single level inheritance and multi-level inheritance. Now let me discuss how it will work in multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, okay, you have a class A, and class B you have the class C. Now you want to inherit the properties of class A and class B. That also you can do. So this one we will call it as multiple inheritance. So look at here, let me discuss an example. You have a class A, okay, and class A does not have any statement, so you are giving the pass. Similarly, you have the class B, it also does not have any statement, so you are writing pass. Then you have class C, okay, which is inheriting the properties of class A and class B, okay. Then you have an init method, define underscore underscore init, then self, you have print class C. Let's take that. Now you are creating an object called D for the class C. Now what is the meaning of this one? Class C will get the properties of class A and also class B. In this case, what will be the output? Obviously, you will get the output as class C. This is nothing interesting. Am I right or wrong? Now let's take that. Let's take that you have the init method in class B. Okay. Underscore underscore init, and then you are writing the self, and here you have the statement called class B. Okay, let's take that you don't have init method in class C. Okay, instead of that one you have a pass statement. Okay, now in this case what will happen? Once you created an object for the class C, which is a child for class A and class B, then it will look at any one of the class has the init method or not. Yes, class B has the init method. Then that will be invoked. So you will get the output as class B. I hope it is clear for you. Now let's take that. Let me add more complexity for you. I have the init method in class A also. Let's take that I have print class A. I hope you are able to understand whatever I am writing. You have a class A. In class A you have the init method. Class B also init method. Class C does not have the init method. Now class C is the child class for both the parents, which is class A and class B. So class C will inherit the properties from class A and class B. Now if you are creating an object for class C, what will be the output? Meaning is that which init method will be invoked, because both are the parents. Now which one will be invoked? Look at here. First, what you have given A. So this is the left parent, this is the right parent. Am I right or wrong? Is it clear? Similarly, let's take that you have a mother and you have a father. If you have a kid, if you ask them, among your father and mother, who you like most? Usually the kids will say mother, because mother, they will spend a lot of time as compared to the father, because father will be busy in earning the money. However, let's take that if father is spending more time, then they will say that father is good as compared to the mother, or they will say that I like father much than mother. Is it clear? Similarly, here, look at here, we'll come to this concept instead of leaving this mother and father. Now look at here, the class C you have created an object called D. Then which init method will be invoked? Look at here, this is the left parent, so that will be invoked first. So you will get only the output as class A. You will not get any other output. Again, let me tell you one important point. If class A and class B both has the init method, if class C does not have the init method, the class which is a left parent, how you can say which is a left parent? Because you have written A comma B. So this is the left parent and this is the right parent. So meaning is that first you are inheriting the properties of class A, then you are inheriting the properties of class B. So that's why this init method will be invoked. Suppose let's take that if I interchange them, instead of a comma b, I have written b comma a. Then you know what will be the output. You can try it and write the output in the comment section. I hope it is clear for you. Now let's take that. Now let's take that I have init method. Let me write a comma b only. I have the init method in the class C also, and here I have a statement called print class C. Then once you create an object D for the class C, then you know what will be the output you will get. You will get the output as class C. Am I right or wrong? Because first it will verify does it have init method or not. If it is having, then it will be displayed as an output. Now let me change the code little bit more. Okay. Now let's take that I have a statement called super method dot in underscore underscore init underscore underscore, then you have this one, and now you are creating an object called D for the class C. Then you know that this init method will be invoked, so you will get the output as class C first. Now you have a super. Now look at here, C is a children for both the A and B. So meaning is that the class C is inheriting the properties of both class A and class B. Now if you call super, which method will be or which class will be called? Means the init method is there in both class A and class B. Then which one will be invoked? Whether it is class A or class B. By this time you know it, because always it will give the highest priority to the left parent. So that's why you will get the output as class A. Okay, I hope it is clear for you. And in last video I have asked one question to you. Let's take that you have a method called m1. Okay, let's take that you have a method m1 with the self as in one of the parameter, and you have the statement called print hi. I hope it is visible for you. You have hi, and similarly you have m1 method in the class B also. You have m1 method, means with the same name you have another method in the class B also. Then if you write print how are you here, how are you, let's take that you have called method m1 using the object which you have created for the class C. Then which method will be called? Because the C is the children for both parents class A and class B. Now it will get the properties of both class A and class B. Then m1 is there in class A and class B also. Which m1 means which method will be called? Obviously, look at again. It will go for the left parent. Left parent is A. So this one will be called. So you will get the output as hi. So with this one, you have understood what is an init method, what is the purpose of init method, and how it will work in single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and multiple inheritance. Let me discuss these concepts in Jupyter Notebook for better understanding. Let me create a class A. It has the init method. So def underscore underscore init underscore underscore. That method should take one parameter, which is a self. Okay. So here I am writing print class A. Okay. Now I have the class B, which is deriving the properties of class A, and it does not have any statement. So instead of leaving empty, I am giving a statement called pass. Now let's take that I am creating an object called ob1, which belongs to class A. If I run the code, what will be the output? As I discussed earlier, you will get the output as class A, because Class B does not have the init method, so it will look at the parent class. Parent class has the init method, then it will give you the output as class A. This is absolutely fine. Let me discuss the other scenario. Let's take that you have the init method in both class A and class B, which is nothing but parent class and the child class both have the init method. Then which one will be invoked if you are creating an object for the child class? In this scenario, as I discussed earlier, you will get the output as class B because the object which is belongs to class or child class which is B, that one has the init method, it will only invoke. So you will get the output as class B. Now let's take that if I want to get the in means output which is there in the both the init methods, or I want to invoke both the init methods which are there in the parent class and child class, then I can call like super, which is nothing but the parent init method. Okay, now if you run this code, you will get the output as class A and class B. Is it clear why? Because you are creating an object for the child class. As the child class has the init method, it will invoke the init method of the child class. Now inside the init method, the first statement you have super. So it is a parent class. Parent class init method you are calling. So it will be called, and what is the statement is there? Class A, that will be printed. Then class B you will get an output. I hope it is clear for you. If I interchange these two statements, okay, if I interchange these two statements, then what will be the output I will get? Look at here, because indentation is very important, so that's why. In this case, you will get the output as class B and class A. Look at here, because first statement is print class B, that will be printed. Then you are calling the init method of the class A, which is super class. I hope you have understood how the constructor or the init method will work in the single level inheritance. Now let me discuss the same concept in the multi-level inheritance. Okay, so now I have a class A, class B and class C. Class A, B is deriving the class A, class C is deriving the class B. Okay, now let's take that I have pass here. Here also I have pass, means I don't want to execute any statements. If I create an object called OB1, any object you can give, okay, for the class C, then what will be the output? You will get the output as class A because there is no init method inside the class C. Then it will look the parent of class C, which is B. It also does not have the init method, but parent of the parent, which is class A, grandparent, has the init method that will be invoked and you will get the output as class A. Oh, sorry, I should give capital C. Okay, look at here. I got the class A as an output. Now let's take that I have the init method in both class A and class B. Then which one will be invoked? Look at here. In this scenario, you will get the output as class B. Okay, as I discussed earlier, first it will look at its own class. As it does not have the init method in its own class, then it will look at the parent class. The parent class is B, it has the invoke method, so which will be invoked. Now let's take that you want to invoke both the class B and class A init methods. Then you can write like this: super method init underscore underscore init, and you can, in this case you will get the output as class A and class B. This is absolutely fine. Now let's take that I am writing a statement called this one, init in class C, and what will be the output I will get? I will get the only output as class C. Okay, now I want all the three classes should be invoked, means init method in both, all the three classes should be invoked. Then in this scenario, can you guess what will be the output? The first you will get the output as class A, then class B, then class C. Look at here. Why? First it will be invoke the init method which belongs to class C. But here you have written super dot, means super method dot init. So it will go to the parent class. What is C's parent class? B. So it will invoke this one. Inside this one, you are writing super dot. So parent of this one, which is class A. So this one will be invoked. Class A will be given output, then class B, then class C. I hope you have understood in the multi-level inheritance. Now let me discuss about multiple inheritance. Now you have a class A, class B. Okay, leave this one. You have print class B. Okay, here you don't have anything, pass only. Okay, so here it is doing this one. Here let's take the first, we'll take step by step. Here also there is no init method. Then in this scenario you will get the output as class A because there is no init method in the child class. However, it is there in the one of the parent class, so it will call this one. Now let's take that. You have the init method in both the parents class because this is a multiple inheritance. Class C is inheriting the properties of both class A and class B. In this scenario, what will be the output? As I discussed earlier, you will get the output as class A because it will look at the left parent first. So that's why you are getting the output as class A. Similarly, let's take that I have the init method or the constructor in class C itself. Then what will be the output I will get? I will get the output as class C only. Okay. Now let's take that in the class C init method, I am writing a statement called super. Now what will be the output? You will get the output as class A and class C. That is what. Now let me interchange these two. Then what should be the output? Class B and class C. Why? Now the left parent is class B. So always it will give the highest priority to the left parent. Then only it will come to the right parent. Okay. I hope it is clear for you. Or let me take this one also. Last scenario we will discuss. Pass is there. In this case, you will get the output as class A and class C because left parent is class B, but it does not have the init method, so it will go to the right parent. So super will call the right parent. I hope you have understood the in the multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and single-level inheritance. Last one we have the hierarchical inheritance. Why should we leave that one? Let me discuss that one also. What is the hierarchical inheritance? You have a one parent class, two childs or child class are deriving the properties of parent class. Suppose let's take that you have pass. Okay. Similarly, you have a class C which is also inheriting the properties of class A. Now here also you have the pass. Now you have created an object for the class C. Then what will be the output you will get? You will get the output as class A. Look at here. Because for class C, the parent is class A. The child class does not have it. So parent class have, that one will be invoked. Suppose let's take that class C also has the init method. There is some issue. Okay. Now let's take the class C. Then I think by this time you can understand and you can tell me what will be the output. Class C will be the output. Okay. Now let's take that I am creating an object for class B. In this case, you guess what will be the output? The output will be class A. I hope you have understood all the concepts whatever I have discussed in this video. Still, if you have any doubts, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I will try to clear your doubts as early as possible. Thank you for watching the complete video. Have a nice day.